For more, I want to welcome now Ariel Cohen, Senior Fellow at the Atlantic Council, joining us from the Netherlands. Ariel, thanks for being with us. A little rundown this evening. This is the first time Putin is engaging in these hostage relations, although touting a strong hand, it seems, in the efforts to release Sasha Trufanov. But why now? Why sit down with this former released hostage and his family members who were released in November 2023? What does Putin gain from this very public visit?
This is a game of one-upsmanship with the United States. Look, we got Sasha out, and you Americans, pretend to be a big power, but you cannot get your American hostage out. Not only Russia views Hamas as not a terrorist organization, whereas the motherlode of Hamas, where Hamas is coming from, the Muslim Brotherhood, is considered in Russia a terrorist organization. Isn't that convenient? Second of all, we've seen a lot of Russian weapons in the hands of Hamas, including anti-tank missiles. I think we did not do the full accounting how these weapons fell in the hands of Hamas. Who were the engineers who helped Hamas to build the tunnel network? And finally, I found it questionable that people I respect, the Chabad leadership of Russia, apparently arranged that meeting. Rabbi Ber Lazar was there, and another rabbi of Chabad. Why provide Russia that refused to impose sanctions on Hamas after October 7th, that voted for every anti-Israel resolution in the United Nations, with this piece of cheap PR standing on the blood of these hostages?
It definitely does pose a very interesting question, and Putin was very clear to even extend his gratitude to the Hamas terror group for releasing these hostages in the first place. However, someone that Putin did not mention or thank were any of the mediators, including Qatar, which is interesting considering today Qatar Emir is in meeting with Putin. They talked Gaza, they talked Syria. What should we make of this visit between the two leaders? It certainly shows some strengthening of the ties between Qatar and Russia.
It does, and not only that. Look, the Putin meeting with a released hostage, and thank God this hostage and any other hostage is released. Russia, after it lost its massive investment in Syria, after Turkey, excuse my French, kicked its butt in Syria, is trying to get back into the Middle East game by hook or by crook. The Russian Empire, the Soviet Union, Putin, Russia are all trying to be relevant in the Middle East. And the Qataris are the ultimate go-betweens. I do believe that this is connected with the U.S. attempts to forward the Iranian nuclear, I don't want to say disarmament, because disarmament would imply the total dismantlement of the Iranian nuclear program, and it looks like the United States is willing to stop short of that. But the Qataris are the ultimate go-between between Israel and Hamas, between U.S. and Iran, between the Taliban and the United States. So the fact that Qataris are in Moscow means the game is afoot.
Well, you talk about Qatar's influence in the region, and also you mentioned these talks between the United States and Iran. And it seems President Putin is a very busy man this week. The Iranian Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi is also in Moscow, and he's set to meet with Putin. And so what does that also indicate as far as these ongoing talks, these ongoing nuclear talks?
Look, I worked on the Russian-Iranian dossier since the 1990s. I wrote many papers and articles about it. Since the late 1990s, the then liberal, quote unquote, Yeltsin's Russia, in the person of its then foreign minister, Yevgeny Primakov, the big hater of Israel, by the way, despite the rumors that he was Jewish, tried, together with Iran, on the record, publicly, say that the joint policy of Moscow and Tehran is, quote, to get the Persian Gulf rid of the American presence. And I don't think it changed much. Russia, Iran, China, and that whole axis of resistance, so to speak, resistance to the United States, of course, and to Israel, are trying to weaken the United States, weaken its allies, and weaken Israel. In that respect, strategically, it did not change.
A lot of interesting developments, it seems, coming out of Moscow in the past 24 hours alone. Ariel Cohen from the Atlantic Council, thank you for giving us your analysis on everything that is unfolding in Moscow.
My pleasure.